You know, it's not every day you get to witness a scientific revolution in real time, but that's exactly what's happening. And get this, it's not taking place in some lab with bubbling beakers. It's being driven by artificial intelligence. Today, we're going to dive into how AI cracked one of the absolute biggest puzzles in biology. And believe me, what it means for us is huge.
Okay, think about this for a second. What if the world's biggest problems, things like curing diseases, tackling climate change, cleaning up pollution, what if they all had the same tiny solution? And what if that solution was so small you couldn't even see it? Well, it sounds like science fiction, but it might just be true.
And that tiny solution, it all comes down to proteins. These are the microscopic machines doing, well, pretty much everything inside you. They start as these long, dangly chains of amino acids, and then they fold themselves up into these wild, super complex 3D shapes. And that shape is everything. It's what determines what the protein actually does, whether it's grabbing oxygen in your blood or, say, hunting down a virus. All right, here's a really easy way to picture it. Think of all of chemistry like a giant box of Legos, right? The single little blocks, those are atoms. You snap them together and you get molecules. But proteins, oh man, proteins are the masterpieces. They're like the giant, intricate Star Wars Millennium Falcon set, where every single piece has to be in the exact right spot. The big problem? For decades, we had the pieces, but we had absolutely no idea what the instruction manual looked like. And that right there, that's the 50-year-old puzzle. For literally decades, figuring out a protein's final 3D shape just by looking at its sequence of amino acids was one of the single hardest problems in all of science. We're talking generations of the brightest minds on the planet getting completely stuck on this. And when I say stuck, I mean the progress was moving at a snail's pace. Get this, the very first protein structure was figured out way back in 1958, but it took, wait for it, 12 years of work. For one single protein. Fast forward 60 years to 2018. After all that time with scientists all over the world working on it, we had only managed to figure out the structures for about 150,000 proteins. It was just a brutal crawl. And it wasn't just the time, it was the money. The old school methods, things like X-ray crystallography, they could set a lab back tens of thousands of dollars for just one protein structure. So yeah, it was slow and it was ridiculously expensive. I mean, just to put it into perspective for you, a scientist could spend their entire PhD, years of their life, just trying to solve the structure of one single protein. The amount of human brainpower and effort being poured into this was just massive. Yeah, this problem was so legendary, so famously hard, that people started calling it the biological equivalent of Fermat's last theorem. You know that epic math problem that took centuries to solve? This was that level of impossible. It was biology's grand challenge. So, how do you solve an impossible puzzle? Well, this is where our story takes a turn. A small team from a company called DeepMind, which is part of Google, decided to jump into the ring. And they weren't coming with bigger labs or fancier equipment. Nope, they came with a whole new approach, artificial intelligence. And they called their project AlphaFold. And what happened next was just mind-blowing. Let's put this side by side. On one hand, you have over 60 years of work, tens of thousands of brilliant scientists, all to solve about 150,000 protein structures. Okay? Now, on the other hand, you have a team of maybe 15 scientists, and in just a couple of years, they predicted the structure of 200 million proteins. Seriously, let that sink in. The jump isn't just big, it's almost unbelievable. I mean, think about what that means. In one fell swoop, AlphaFold basically handed us the instruction manual for nearly every protein known to exist in nature. It's like research labs all over the world just time traveled decades into the future. This wasn't just an improvement, it was a complete and total game changer. And you don't have to take my word for it. John Molt, the guy who literally founded the competition to try and solve this problem, he saw what AlphaFold did, and he basically said, that's it, we've done it, we've solved the problem. Just like that, the 50-year puzzle was over. Okay, so the puzzle is solved. That's awesome. But what does that actually mean for us right now? With this massive library of 200 million protein blueprints, what can we actually do? What new world does this unlock?
Well, the possibilities are just staggering. Because we know the shape, we can now design drugs that are like perfect little keys to jam the locks of a virus. We can speed up work on a malaria vaccine. We can build custom enzymes that literally eat plastic pollution. We can figure out how to neutralize deadly snake venom or tackle antibiotic resistance. This isn't just an incremental step, it's a whole new scientific frontier.
And you know what? This AI revolution isn't just happening in biology. Another AI from DeepMind, this one called Genome, went looking for new materials, and it found over 400,000 of them. That's more stable materials than humans have discovered in our entire history. We're talking about things that could lead to way better batteries, or even room temperature superconductors. It's happening everywhere. And the rest of the scientific world? Oh, they've noticed. The big paper that explained how AlphaFold 2 works, it's been cited in other scientific papers more than 30,000 times. In the world of science, that's like a rock album going multi-platinum. It means this isn't some niche discovery. It's now the foundation for thousands of other research projects. But here's the thing, this isn't just about what we're discovering, it's about how we're discovering it. This AI wave is completely rewriting the rules of the game and changing what it even means to be a scientist today. So, what does the modern chemist's toolkit look like now? Well, yeah, you still need that solid chemistry foundation, of course. But that's just step one. Now you also have to learn to code. Think Python or R. You have to really get AI and machine learning concepts. And you've got to be comfortable wrestling with absolutely enormous sets of data. The bottom line, the modern chemist is also a data scientist. And why does that matter to you? Well, if you're a young scientist just starting out, this new combo of skills is everything. If you walk in with a fresh degree that combines chemistry know-how with AI and machine learning chops, you can get into the industry way faster. It's the new golden ticket. Look, a speed up of 100,000 times, that doesn't just mean you do the same old science, only faster. It means you do fundamentally different stuff. The old hard questions suddenly become easy, which means you can start asking completely new, once unthinkable questions. You rebuild the entire field from the ground up. So, AI has officially solved one of science's grand challenges. It's cracked the code and opened the door to a whole new era of discovery. And that really just leaves us with one massive, exciting question to think about. Now that we have this incredible key, which impossible door are we going to unlock next?